We are going to be working with, in our DMA30, we are going to be looking at customary measurements. And we're going to look at conversions within the customary measurements. In section 5, we're going to be looking at length. In section 6, we're going to be looking at weight. And in section 7, we're going to be looking at capacity, or you may want to use the word volume. Okay? Customary measurements are different than metric. In the metric system that we covered the other day, we have meters, we would have grams, we would have liters, and all we have to do is change and adjust the prefix to show how large or how small something would be. In the customary system, when we talk about the length of something, these are the conversions and the measurements that we would have. 1 mile is equal to 5,180 feet. 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. 1 yard also is equal to 36 inches. The way that we would get that is because 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. So if 1 foot is 12 inches, then 3 feet, we would say 3 times 12 would give us 36 inches. So 1 yard is 3 feet if we're dealing with feet, or if we're converting with inches, we can use 36 inches. When we do a conversion from, let's say we're going to go from feet to yards. Let's say I have 24 yards and I want to convert that and find out how many feet is that going to be. I'm going to use the conversion that 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. I'm going to use that. However, what I need to do is to figure out how can I organize this so I know, do I multiply by 3? Do I divide by 3? Which of these things do I do? Let me use a new sheet, and on this sheet I'm going to show you what the conversion is. So with the conversions, you will be given a number and you will be given, I'm going to call it the given unit. This is what they're going to give you. A number and what the unit is, whether it's feet, inches, or miles. In the denominator, we're always going to put that over 1. We are then going to multiply this by what we're converting to. I'm going to call the new unit. I'm going to write here on the bottom given unit, because that I'm going to use the value here of the given unit that would have been given here. Not the same digit where the star sign, where the number sign is, but just the unit that we were given in the beginning. What we place, what numbers we use here is going to come from the conversion chart. So you would look at it when you take your test, you'll be able to have those values I just had written down. You'll have access to those, and you'll use the values from the conversion chart here. So you're going to place a number here, you're going to put a value here, and you're going to put a value that's here. At that point, all that you do is simplify. So we'll apply this to the problem that we have, okay? So if we come to this problem that we have, what they have given me is the number 24, and my given unit is the yards. I'm going to put that over 1. Here, what I had was new unit over given unit. My new unit I'm converting to is feet. So I'm converting to feet. My given unit was yards. This is, in essence, my conversion chart. 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. So beside yard, I'm going to put the number 1. Beside feet, I'm going to put 3. What's going to happen is the yard over yard is going to cancel out. And our unit for our final answer is going to be just in feet. In this case, we're going to have 24 times 3. So we're going to do that multiplication. 24 times 3 gives us 72. And 1 times 1 would be over 1, or in essence, we are just going to write 72 feet. So my answer here is going to be 72. Okay, we're going to do another one similar to this. Okay, so let's say we are going to have 4 miles, and I want to convert this to feet. So my given unit is 4 miles. I'm going to put that over 1. My new unit I'm converting to is feet. My given unit was miles. If you look on the conversion chart, you're going to be shown that 1 mile is 5,280 feet. So when I plug my numbers in here, where the mile is, I'm going to put a 1. Where the feet is, I'm going to put 5,280. I'm going to see that the unit miles should cancel, and my final answer is going to be feet. Since these numbers are on top, we're going to multiply 4 times 5,000. So 4 times 5280 gives me 21,120. 21,120. And that would be my answer. Okay, let's try another. We're going to have we're going to take 90 inches and we are going to convert that to yards. So my given unit is 90 inches. I'm going to put that over 1. My new unit is yards. My given unit was inches. From the information we had a moment ago, we know that 1 yard is equal to 36 inches. So I'm going to take my values here and plug in from the conversion chart. So 1 yard is equal to 36 inches. My inches and inches are going to cancel out. 90 times 1 is 90. 1 times 36 is 36. Now, with this fraction in this form, this means it's a division. So I need to simplify that. So I'm going to do 90 divided by 36, and that's going to give me 2.5, 2.5. So my answer is going to be 2.5 yards. So that's the basic way that we're going to be doing our conversions from customary of 1 unit size to another unit size. Sometimes what people find to be confusing in the customary system is we have so many different units. We have inches, we have feet, we have yards, we have miles. Whereas when we dealt with metric, we would just have a kilometer, a millimeter, a centimeter, a decimeter, a hectometer. Everything was a meter with a different prefix. Here and everything was base 10 numbers. So you're multiplying or dividing by a multiple of 10, 10, 100, 1,000, and so forth. Here, all of our numbers are different. Now, what we will also see that will happen is that sometimes we might have, and let's say I have 112 inches And if I need to put my final answer in feet and inches, for a problem like this, we are going to use long division to do this. So if you see two blanks on the right-hand side, you're going to do long division. So that means 112 is going to go underneath the division sign. And if you look back in your notes, we had that 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. So I'm going to divide 12 into 112. You can use your calculator to help you, but you're still going to have to work with the long division. So we're going to do 112 divided by 12, and that gives me 9 point, a repeating 3. What I'm going to use is just the whole number 9, not the decimal, okay? So 12 goes into 112 9 times evenly. So my number of feet is going to be 9. My inches is not 0.3333. That is not going to be correct. That's why we're doing the long division. So 9 times evenly. So let's use our calculator. Let's do 9 times 12, and that's going to give us 108. So here I would have 108. My next step would be to subtract. If I subtract 108 from 112, that leaves me with 4. The 4 is my remainder. The remainder is the remaining number of inches. So the remainder is what's going to go in the second blank of your answer. The whole number, I'm going to put here. Your whole number is going to go for the first part of the answer. The second part is the remainder. Okay, let's do another. Let's say we have we're going to say we have 50,000 feet, and I want to convert that and know how many miles and how many leftover feet would that be. 1 mile is 5,280 feet. So when I do my long division, 50,000 is going to go here. 5,280 is what I'm going to divide into it. Okay, so you can use your calculator to help you. 50,000 divided by 5280 gives me the whole number, 9 again. We're just going to use the 9. Then we're going to do 9 times 5280. That gives us 47,520. 47,520. We're now going to subtract to get our remainder. So 50,000 minus 47,520 gives us a remainder of 2,480. I know when you look at that, you think, oh, that's really large. It's okay. It's smaller than the divisor, so as long as your remainder is less than the divisor, it's okay if those digits appear to be large. You've got 9 miles, 2,480 feet. So the next concept we're going to look at is, what if you are given 2 units? Let's say you're given 5 yards, 2 feet. And what if I want you to convert that to just feet? So if we have 2 units on the left, instead of doing long division where we divide and subtract, we are going to use multiplication and addition. As we know, 1 yard is made up of 3 feet. So if I have 5 yards and I'm converting it to feet, I'm going to multiply 5 times 3. That's going to give me 15 feet. I'm then going to take my 15 feet, add it to the 2 extra feet that are here, and 15 plus 2 is going to give me a total of 17 feet. Let's do another example similar to that. Let's say we have 7 feet 8 inches, and I want to convert to just inches. Well, 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. That would be on our conversion chart. So if I multiply 7 feet times 12 inches per foot, when you do 7 times 12, you're going to get 84. And then the 84 inches, we're going to add to it the other 8 inches that we have, and that's going to give us a total of 92 inches. So if you have two measurements on the left going to one measurement, we're going to multiply and add. Whereas if we had previously one measurement unit converting it to two, that's when we do long division, so we get our whole number answer and then we get our remainder. Another situation that we will experience is that we might need to add or subtract measurements. So let's look at an example of this. If I were to have 5 feet 9 inches, and I want to add to it 7 feet 10 inches. If I'm doing an addition, I'm going to add feet to feet, and I'm going to add inches to inches. So 9 and 10 will give me 19 inches. 5 and 7 is going to give me 12 feet. If I were to type in 12 feet 19 inches, it would tell me that it would be incorrect. That would not be the most simplified answer. Remember, 1 foot is equal to 12 inches. So when I look at my smaller unit here, isn't this bigger than 12 inches? Yes. So that means there's another foot. It's kind of like, think about when you're dealing with money and you've got a bunch of change in your pocket. A lot of times, if you had enough quarters to change it to a dollar bill, you might want to switch that out and have it as dollar bills, and then the amount of change you have, let it be 99 cents or less, and not have like a big pocket full of loose change. Kind of think of it that way. So what we're going to do is, if 12 inches makes a foot, if I subtract 12 inches, that leaves me with 7. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to move that 12 inches over here as 1 foot. So the 12 inches changes to the 1 foot, and now I have a total of 13 feet, and then my inches is less than the 12. So you might have something that could possibly be an addition that we would do here. You might also have something where you might have a subtraction. So if we had, let's say, 8 feet 11 inches, and we're going to subtract 2 feet 10 inches. Now in this case, I can subtract 10 from 11, that leaves me with 1 inch, and 2 from 8 is 6 feet. So that was a nice simple subtraction. But what if I were to have 10 feet 6 inches, and I want to subtract 2 feet and 8 inches? When I go to do my subtraction, I can't take 8 away from 6, so I would have to borrow. When I borrow, the 10 feet is going to become 9 feet. That 1 foot that we're borrowing is actually 12 inches. So what I'm going to be doing in essence is I'm going to take 6 plus 12. When I add 6 and 12, that's going to give me a total of 18 inches. So the 1 foot that I took away here was 12 inches. 12 and 6 gives me 18. Now I can subtract 8 from 18. That gives me 10 inches. That's less than a whole foot. And 9 minus 2 is going to give me 7 feet. You may sometimes have a situation where you might have to do borrowing when you do that subtraction. Okay, now let's look at weight. As we look at weight, the amounts that we need to know for our conversions are 1 pound, and the abbreviation for pound you'll see is LB. 1 pound is equal to 16 ounces. And 1 ton, abbreviated with a capital T, is equal to 2,000 pounds. A ton would be used when you're weighing a truck, something really large, like a 2-ton truck. We've probably heard that expression before. But if you're talking about the weight of a newborn baby, that would be measured in pounds and ounces. If you're going to the deli and you're purchasing meat, if you're buying, steaks or hamburger, you might buy a pound or two of a certain type of meat. Whereas when you're buying deli meat, depending on how many people you might be feeding in your family, if it's just you, you only might want a 1/4 pound of meat, which would be 4 ounces, or a 1/2 pound of deli meat, which would be just 8 ounces. So let's look at some conversions, and we're going to set up our conversions and do them the same way we did earlier. And let me come back to the screen. You'll be given a number and a unit. We're going to put it over 1. That times the new unit and given unit. The values that go here are going to come from your conversion chart, and then we're going to simplify. So when you're practicing problems, I recommend write this on a sheet of paper, a note card even. Have it there beside you so while you're working, you will always be setting up your conversion problems this way. It'll just make things a lot simpler. So for this one, let's say we are going to do 108 ounces. I want to convert that to pounds. So my given number and unit is 108 ounces. I'm going to put that over 1. I'm going to convert it to pounds. On the bottom, I'm going to give the given unit, which was the ounces. 1 pound is 16 ounces. So on the blank here, 1 pound is 16 ounces. What's going to happen here is that the ounces and ounces are going to cancel. 108 times 1 is 108. 1 times 16 is 16. This fraction I need to reduce, so I'm going to do 108 divided by 16. That's going to give me 6.75. 6.75. My unit that I'm converting it to was pounds. So this is a time when we would use that decimal value, 6 3/4 pounds. Okay, let's do another. Let's say we have 17,000 pounds and we want to convert that to tons. So I was given 17,000 pounds, put that over 1. I'm going to convert it to tons. On the bottom is pounds. From the conversion chart, 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. So 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. What we have here that's going to cancel out, pounds and pounds cancel. 17,000 times 1 is 17,000. 1 times 2,000 is 2,000. So my 17,000 divided by 2,000 gives me 8.5. So that would be 8.5 tons. Now, when you're dealing with weight, you're still going to have the potential of having problems like I showed you a moment ago, where you might be adding or subtracting some of those same units. So let me give you an example of that. Let's say we have 3 pounds 4 ounces, and we're going to add to that 7 pounds 13 ounces. Okay, so if I'm going to add this, what I would have is 4 and 3 would give me 17 ounces, and 3 plus 7 is going to give me 10 pounds. This would not be my final answer. I would need to simplify because 1 pound we know is equal to 16 ounces. This 17 is larger than that, so I'm going to take 16 of those ounces away to leave me with 1 ounce. But what I'm going to do is move it over by adding that as 1 pound. So I would end up with 11 pounds and 1 ounce. So there will be additions and subtraction problems that we will be having just like that to go along with it. The last section that we have here is volume. And when we're looking at volume, the conversions that we have are 1 gallon is equal to 4 quarts. 1 quart is equal to 2 pints. 1 pint is equal to 2 cups, and 1 cup is equal to 8 fluid ounces. Not weight ounces, but liquid ounces. Okay? And again, these items you will be able to have when you do your testing, so you'll be able to utilize these as you're working those problems. Okay? So if I wanted to convert 9 quarts, I wanted to know how many gallons would that be. I'm given 9 quarts, put it over 1. I'm going to convert it to gallons. Then I'm going to put the quart on the bottom. From the conversion chart, 1 gallon is equal to 4 quarts. So beside the 1 gallon, I'm going to put a 1. Quart, I'm going to put the 4. Now what we have that's going to cancel is the quart. 9 times 1 is 9. 1 times 4 is 4. And then if we take 9/4 and simplify, we get 2.25. So that would give me 2.25 gallons. Let's take this same problem and we're going to do it slightly differently. If we have 9 quarts and we want to change it to gallons and quarts. Remember earlier with length, if we went from 1 unit to 2 unit sizes, we used long division. So we would have 9 here, and we would divide by 4. 4 goes into 9 how many times? Twice. 2 times 4 is 8, and when I subtract, I get a remainder of 1. So if it's not just gallon as this problem, for this one, yes, we would use the decimal. But for this one, we do have 2 gallons as the whole number, but the remainder of 1 quart is what we're going to have here. And actually 1 out of 4 is 1/4 or the 0.25. Okay, let's do another. Now this one I'm going to give you, it's going to be a multiple step problem, but I'm going to show you how easy it can still be. If we have 3 gallons and we want to convert gallons to pints, what I have is my given unit is 3 gallon. I'm going to put it over 1. Now, when I looked at my conversion, I had 1 gallon is 4 quarts, and I had 1 quart was equal to 2 pints. Whoop. 1 pint is 2 cups, and 1 cup is 8 fluid ounces. So if I'm going from gallon to pint, isn't there a size in between? There's a quart. So if I'm going to set this up, I'm going to stair step down to the quart because I have a conversion that's quart and gallon, and then I'm going to go from the quart to the pint. And I'm still going to use my chart to plug in my values. So 1 gallon is 4 quarts. 1 quart is 2 pints. What cancels out is the gallon and gallon cancels, the quart and the quart cancels. In the numerator, I now have 3 times 4 times 2. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. 1 times 1 times 1 is just 1, and my final unit is pint. So that would be 24 pints. So when you're working with volume and there's multiple things, if they're not going from gallon to the very next size, you can stair step that same process down to be able to work through all of those. Okay, let's do another. Let's go from, okay, here's a good one. The question on this is, can 3 quarts, 2 pints of fruit punch, can this amount of fruit punch and 4 quarts, 1 pint of ginger ale be poured into a 2-gallon container without overflowing? Like if you had a punch bowl and you were going to put the fruit punch and the ginger ale together. So in this case, we're going to need to add. So what we're going to add is 3 quarts, 2 pints, that was the fruit punch, to the 4 quarts, 1 pint of ginger ale. So when we add this, 2 and 1 gives me 3 pints, and 3 and 4 gives me 7 quarts. Okay? Now, with our conversions, 2 pints makes a quart. So here, since 2 pints makes a quart, I'm going to subtract 2 pints, which leaves me with 1 pint, but I'm going to move that over here as 1 more quart. 7 and 1 gives me 8 quarts. What I have is 8 quarts and 1 pint. Now, when we look back at this, 4 quarts makes a gallon. If my punch bowl is 2 gallons, and I want to convert that, and let's say, how many quarts would that be? 1 gallon is 4 quarts. 2 times 4 is 8 quarts. So if 8 quarts is equal to 2 gallons. That's the size of the punch bowl. What we have here is 8 quarts and 1 pint. The question is, can it be poured into a 2-gallon container without overflowing? No, because that extra pint is going to overflow past the 8 quarts, because 8 quarts exactly is 2 gallons. So there's more, is too much, it would actually make it overflow. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the last of the measurements that we have for customary.